Welcome to the KUSSI Halftime Report. I'm Steve Degler. We will talk basketball during this show. Later on, we'll talk with men's coach Bernie Driscoll. But first, it's the women's coach Janet Malouf entering her 24th year here at Kutztown. And Janet, the playoff appearance for you last year. Unfortunately, you did not win that game, but increasing wins. What are the goals coming into this season as you try and get past that hurdle in the first round of the PSACs?
Well, thanks first off for letting me talk to you guys today about our women's team. We're very excited about it. Yes, we finished in playoffs last year. We lost an opening round. We had hosted, and we were hoping to have a good win in that. We had a couple of situations and some injuries and stuff that ended up taking the wind out of our sails for there because we were clicking pretty good those last 7-8 games during the season. So obviously experience is back, and we're going to be young with some new kids, but we do have some experienced kids back. We have talented players. We are absolutely looking forward to making the playoffs again, but not just making it. We got the 3 seed and we're hosted. We want to host again, and then we want to get that first playoff win. I think getting that confidence and getting that in there, then we can go a lot further than we did a year ago.
Then when you look back to the loss in the playoffs last year on your home court, is there some fuel there coming into this season to try and get past that again?
Well, sure there is. I mean, the kids who were here know that if one of the players who couldn't play would have played in that game, there's no doubt in our minds that we would have won that game handily. And, we lost. It was a close game, lost by 4. So it wasn't like we got blown out or anything. It's just it was really an important person that we missed that we were not counting on, so couldn't have prepared, a game plan for, playing Millersville in that competition, not knowing that ahead of time. Had we found out like 5 minutes before the game started. So it's hard to make adjustments and the kids to make adjustments in that. And we tried the best that we could, and we just fell short. Knowing the kids that we have back and having the kids that we have coming in, we're a lot deeper, we're more talented. So if issues like that arise, I think we're better prepared this year to handle them because we're not going to be missing significant people who need to be out on the floor.
To me, you're in a really unique situation. You did lose 4 seniors, and that can be very detrimental to a program, but yet you have a lot of experience plus a good freshman class coming in. So you're at least in a good situation that way.
Yeah, we're going to be, kind of young and dumb a little bit, but we are going to be, they're very talented. This is a much better basketball team if you just pick them out compared to last year's team. And last year's team, those kids worked very hard. We had some very good players in Alex Heck and Kelsey Watson and Jen Altmaier, who own some records in our school. But an overall group, we have 6 new kids coming in this year. They are very, very talented. We have a transfer kid coming in. It gives us some size at 6'2" in Jetta Whitcomb. And their basketball knowledge is just so much greater. So, yes, we lost 4, but we gained 6 really good players. And to make up then with Sierra coming back as the PSAC Rookie of the Year last year, we had Karen Lapowitz, who had a lot of minutes and played very well down the stretch for us. We still have Kiki back. We have Kaylee Fugel coming back, who has some experience. Taylor Thames has played a lot of minutes, and they've all improved their game. Gabby Wright coming back in, also only being a sophomore, who had started to play well toward the end of the year. So, yes, if you look at the minutes played, they're inexperienced. But as far as getting the experience, they've played in some significant games and big games, especially down the stretch of last year, which we were winning. And that's where we had that run where we got to the playoff game. So, yeah, not as much experience, but significant experience. The freshman kids are very talented. I think have a better basketball IQ and a knowledge. So combining those together, we certainly are very excited about this season.
When you talk about all those players, does that lead to more balance and then make you a tougher team to defend because you have players who can score the ball?
Well, absolutely. I think, I don't know anybody, and we looked at our team, and we keep plotting it out. We have 15 girls on the team. We have a couple kids coming off injuries, so healthy bodies right now. We open up with a scrimmage coming up soon. We'll probably have like 12 healthy bodies. All 12 can play, and that's a first for me being here as long as I have that. You could get past 8, 9, and 10 and really not lose too much. All those kids are still capable of, lighting up the basket and getting some points for us or playing significant defense or playing really good, an offensive game and getting some assists. They all bring value to the team where they're going to make an impact. So it's not like you take somebody out and we drop down. We could take 10 kids, put 5 here, 5 here, and we look at them and go, either 5 of those kids could do well in our conference. We had 10. So, we're very excited. And then, obviously, we have 15 total. Those other kids we can fit right in, too. No matter what lineup we use, we think we're going to get value and production out of all of them. So, yes, we'll be more difficult to guard. I think we are better balanced in that we have more three-point shooters than we did a year ago. Everybody, keyed in on Jenna Altmaier. We lost her. But every single freshman who came in can shoot the 3. You know, the transfer kid is 6'2", is not going to shoot a three, but almost everybody back returning can shoot the three, with the exception of somebody like Kiki. So now you have 13 players who can all light it up from the three-point range, which is going to stretch teams out, going to open it up. And if you don't play any of them, they can all knock it down. So our scoring production should go up. You know, I don't know who's going to score what, but I definitely think we can, you know, light up the scoreboard and maybe outscore some people early, being as young as we are, before we figure out the defensive end of it.
Visiting with women's basketball coach Janet Malouf, you mentioned earlier Sierra Taylor, the PSAC East Freshman of the Year last year. What did she bring to the team, especially in late game situations where she always seemed to come up big? Yeah,
down at the end of the year, I really think Sierra matured. In the beginning of the year, she was not quite as comfortable as she needed to be, but especially down those last 12, 15 games, she really wanted to be the one. I'm going to take the big shot. And she made some of them. She missed some of them, but she's willing to take them. And that's really, really important. I think we have a freshman this year who's willing to do the same thing, take some big shots, which will alleviate a little bit of pressure for Sierra, so she doesn't have to be the one all the time. But now when you have a couple kids who are willing to take the big shot, again, makes it tougher for teams to really defend you, because who's going to take it? Sierra did a fantastic job in a point guard spot doing that. This other kid's, you know, a wing position. So it's definitely going to make some things more dynamic for us.
You mentioned all the newcomers. How excited are you about this freshman class?
I mean, it's a big class, and they're all very, very talented, and they all get along, and we've been recruiting them for a while, and we've known them all basically for almost 2 years before they ever got here. So we're certainly very comfortable with them. They're excited about being here. They love KU, and we always feel that that's a part of it. If you're where you want to be, then you're going to play a whole lot better. They played summer ball with the kids who were returning, so they all got to interact that way too and get used to each other. So they're all excited because they know every single player here is a good player, and they're going to bring value to this team. So they're all excited to get playing with each other. Not like, oh, I don't want to play with this person or that person. They like playing with everybody because they know we're going to be pretty good.
I know it's really early, but with conference play beginning before the holidays now, what does the PSAC East look like this year?
The PSAC East is always tough. I mean, conference play in general, with 26 league games and 22 are mandated, that all count, it always makes it difficult. It's going to be tough. We're going to have challenges right away. We're playing some of the Western teams. We have California early. We have IUP early. We got to be ready to go. And it'll be interesting, but I think we can sneak up on some people early. And then, obviously, we finished third last year. We want to finish no worse than third. If we finish less than third, we'll be disappointed. But I'm certainly looking forward to an exciting season.
Well, I can tell you're excited. I will be here before too long. Best of luck this year, Coach.
Thank you.
Janet Malouf, our guest here in the KUSSI Halftime Report. When we come back, we'll talk men's hoops with Bernie Driscoll in just a moment. Welcome back to the KUSSI Halftime Report. I'm Steve Degler. Switching gears now to men's basketball. We are joined by head coach Bernie Driscoll, entering his 18th season here at Kutztown. And Bernie, first of all, thanks for taking the time. I'm sure you're anxious for the season to get underway.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me.
It's been a couple of good years here. 2 straight PSAC East titles, 26 wins last year, a couple of NCAA tournaments. What's been the kind of the highlight for you over the last couple of years with your team successes?
I think it's nice having a group of seniors go through the program. We had that really big recruiting class 4 years ago, and then to have Ryan and Josh Johnson and Martin and all those guys go through. Start off taking our lumps a little bit early when they were young, and then, our goal was to win the PSAC title their senior year, and we just accomplished it a year early. And then to stay on the national scene for as long as we did was nice.
Those tournament appearances when you get to the NCAA level, how much does that do for your program?
It's fun. First of all, it's you work so hard all year to get to the NCAA tournament, and our goals are real simple goals. We want to win the PSAC East every year. We want to win the PSAC, and then the NCAA tournament is going to be on top of that. But it's a whole different level of basketball. I mean, the PSAC is hard and tough, and well coached. But when you get to that level, it's just that one step up, and it's nice to experience it, and we just want to do a little better.
I know you really liked that senior class last year, and they did a lot of good things for you. How tough was it for you to see them walk off the floor at IUP and not have the PSAC title?
The hardest part probably, when we walked off that floor is we didn't play a good game. You kind of strive for all year to kind of hit that point, hit that stride, that last game, and we just didn't play well. And you give Ship a ton of credit, and you just we just struggled, and we struggled from the field. And when you shoot poorly from the free throw line, like we did that day, you're just going to lose. And but that was hard to swallow. But you had to put it behind you and then just get going.
Despite all those losses with that senior class, you're looking ahead to this year. You still return a lot of experience. What are your expectations for this team?
Win the PSAC East.
How tough is that going to be this year?
Oh, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult, and I think it's we have some wonderful teams, and you got Ship coming back with, I believe, one of the best players in Division II, and Dustin Sliwa, and I think Mansfield. You watched Mansfield this year. They have some Division I transfers, and Coach Ziff is doing a real nice job there, and always, Jeff does a great job at East Stroudsburg, and the league has come up, and I think the East is going to be a little bit stronger than the West again this year. So I think you got to come ready to play. I think you got to take every game as a big game, and just try to get through the PSAC East as best you can. So I think it's going to be a very, very challenging year this year. It's going to be fun.
One of the guys you have back, a very dynamic player, Ethan Ridgway, was an all-region point guard. What impact does he bring to your team?
Well, first of all, he's the quickest point guard I've had since Jeff Brickus, and that's a lot. Ethan has done a wonderful job, and Ethan, as he goes, we go. I mean, he's one of the most unselfish basketball players that I've ever coached. He looks to pass first. He looks to make his teammates better, and he averaged double figures in assists all year, and I think this year it could even be a little bit higher. So we need Ethan to probably be a little bit more consistent from the three, because teams kind of back off him a little bit. But as I believe as he goes, we're going to go.
Anthony Lee is a guy who started for you a couple of years. Sometimes kind of goes under the radar to me. What does he mean to the team?
Well, he's one of those guys you just doesn't do anything fancy. And at the end of the game, you look at his stats, and he's got 16 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and no turnovers. And he's guarded the best player and the best guard in the other team. So he just gets the job done. And he and Ethan work extremely well together. So if you ever watch Ethan play, he looks for where Anthony is. And Anthony has that little knack just to move that open spot. And once you give him a little bit of an opening, he buries that shot. So, he's a very special player.
Visiting with men's basketball coach Bernie Driscoll here during the KUSSI halftime report. Who are some of the other returning guys that you will count on this year?
Well, Dan Cuevas averaged double figures last year, and we're expecting Dan to take that next step forward and be a little bit more of a force in the box and so forth. And we have a young man, we have a transfer from Cheney University, a young man named Rafiq Marshall, who was their leading scorer. I expect to come in, and once he gets adjusted to how we play, to be very good. And then, we have 2 freshmen, which I think are very, very special players that in the years to come are going to really make an impact on our program, named Mo Williams, 6'7" guard. And then we have a young man from Argentina named Facundo Aarons, who is as complete a basketball player as I've coached in a long time.
And if longtime KU fans are wondering, Mo Williams, I've heard that name before, and they have.
They have. This is junior. Senior played in the 80s for Rick Binder, and that's kind of our in, how we got Mo. And Mo's done extremely well. He had to sit out last year, and which he did, and he grew and learned what's it like to be a college student. And now this year he's a redshirt freshman, and I'm expecting him to really take a big step forward and help us.
How does he compare to his dad?
His dad always tells me he was a better player than Mo, but I'm telling you, I'm watching Mo, and he's as fast and as quick as really any 3-4 that we've had here, and he will really pose some real challenging matchup problems for teams in the league. And he's got to get a little bit more consistent shooting, but he'll have a couple of highlight dunks this year that'll just be amazing. So I'm expecting great things from Mo.
You've had so many great seasons here at Kutztown. Do you ever worry about complacency setting in with the program, or has that never been a problem?
I think it might be a little problem once in a while with my players that their expectations are, we really don't have to work as hard, and but getting to the top or getting to where we are, I think it's harder to stay. I think it's much more difficult to keep this level of 23, 26 wins and a year and 7 or 6 PSAC titles in the last 8 years, and that's the hard part. And so as a coaching staff, we work hard, and in the off season, and we let them know earlier that last year's over. Last year's over. It was a great year, great kids. But if you need to make your noise right now, and you need to have your identity, and here are our goals, and let's work hard to get there.
Season begins November 11th, 6 o'clock. Penn State Schuylkill will be your opponent. Best of luck this season, Bernie.
Thank you, Dex.
Bernie Driscoll, our guest. Our thanks also to women's coach Janet Malouf. Thank you for listening to the KUSSI Halftime Report. I'm Steve Degler. Matt Santos has the second half kickoff from Cheney right after this.